Hello everyone, today we're going to do packet switcher of SysME 2 version 7.3.6.1 packet switcher implement VLANs and trunking. Here's a dressing table. So totally 7 PCs. Here's PC 6, 7, and 3 switches and 1 IP phone. Okay, objectives part 1, configure VLANs. Part 2, assign ports to VLANs. Part 3, configure static trunking. Part 4, configure dynamic trunking. Static trunking is permanent trunking, no need DTP or no need negotiation. Dynamic trunking need DTP to negotiate. Background, you are working in a company that is getting ready to deploy a set of new 2960 switches in a branch office. You are working in a lab to test out the VLAN and trunking configurations that are planned. Configure and test the VLANs and trunks instructions. Part 1, configure VLANs. Configure VLANs on all 3 switches. Refer to the VLAN table. All 3 switches, here are 3 switches. VLAN table, okay, here. And the VLAN names must match the values. Here's the VLAN names. Must match the values. Here, this value VLAN number. Okay, let's go to configure the VLANs on these 3 switches. Start from left to the right. It's switch B first. Enable, configure terminal, VLAN, here VLAN 10. Okay, here VLAN 10 is admin. VLAN 10, the name is case sensitive, so first letter is capital. So name, admin. VLAN 20, name is accounts. VLAN 30, name is HR. VLAN 40, name is voice. VLAN 99, name is management. VLAN 100, name is native. All right. So switch A, we're going to do the same thing. Enable, configure terminal, VLAN 10, name is admin. VLAN 20, name is accounts. VLAN 30, name is HR. VLAN 40, name is voice. VLAN 99, name is management. VLAN 100, name is native. All right. And the next is switch C. Enable, configure terminal. VLAN 10, name is admin. VLAN 20, name is accounts. VLAN 30, name is HR. VLAN 40, name is voice. VLAN 99, name is management. VLAN 100, name is native. All right. So we finished the part 1. Part 2, assign ports to VLANs. Assign access ports to VLANs. Access ports are the ports that are directly connected to the end devices. So on switch B, these three, F01, F02, F03, are access ports because they are directly connected to the PCs. We need to assign these three ports to the VLANs, and the switch C do the same thing. Okay, let's go to assign ports. Refer to the addressing table. Here, addressing table. Actually, we can use this topology to do this configuration. All right, switch B. Okay, so interface, some room. Okay, interface F01. F01 is to VLAN 10. So switch port mode is access. Switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, now I start to use up arrow to quickly get command. So next is interface F02, switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 20. This time is interface F03, switch port mode access. Switch port access, this time is VLAN 30. All right. So we're going to do the same thing on switch C. Okay, configure terminal interface F01. F01 is to VLAN 10. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, so next is F02. F02 is to VLAN 20. So mode access VLAN 20. Interface F03. F03 is to VLAN 30. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 30. And there's interface F04. F04 is to VLAN 10. Access mode and VLAN 10. Okay. Here, look at F04. This interface is connected to IP phone, and IP phone connected to PC7. So actually, this interface is associated with the two VLANs. One is data VLAN, VLAN 10, which is configured. And another is voice VLAN from IP phone. So in order to support voice traffic, the quality of service classification need be enabled on the interface F04. To set interface F04 as trusted state. So this trust is based on the class of service. So we need a command. Let me type the command first, then explain you. The command is mls QoS trust COS. All right. So MLS is a multi-layer switch. QoS is quality of service trust. COS is class of service. So the quality of service need be enabled on the interface F04. To set this interface as trusted state, the trust is based on the class of service. So now the quality of service is enabled on this interface F04. Then next, we can assign F04 to the voice VLAN. voice VLAN is VLAN 40. So switch ports voice VLAN 40. Okay, so we finished configure these access ports. Next, voice, yeah, we did it. Configure the virtual management interface. Create a virtual management interface on all switches. Address the virtual management interface according to the addressing table. Addressing table is here. All right, so IP address switch. We know that switch use MAC address to transfer information, and also the physical ports on the switch don't support IP address because IP address is a layer 3 IP address. So when you see IP address on the switch, this IP address only can be configured on the virtual interface, switch virtual interface for the management purpose use. So here, the default, here the SVI interface is switch virtual interface. The default virtual interface is VLAN 1, but here the management virtual interface is VLAN 99. Okay, so let's go to configure. Start from SWA switch A. All right, so interface. This interface is virtual interface, VLAN 99. So IP address. Switch A IP address is here, 192.168.99.252. So 192.168.99.252, followed by the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. All right. So all the interface on the switch are in the shutdown mode. So we need to enable the interface VLAN 99 using the command no shutdown. Next, switch B. Interface VLAN 99. Okay, IP address. IP address here is 99.253. So 192.168.99.253. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown. Then switch C, do the same thing. Okay, interface VLAN 99. IP address. IP address, switch C, IP address is 99.254. 192.168.99.254. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. Okay, we configured this. So here switches should not be able to ping each other. Why? Should not be pinging each other. That's because the gigabit Ethernet ports between the switches are still in the VLAN 1 by default as access ports. So they cannot ping each other. We need to configure these switch ports between the switches as a trunk. So that is what we need to do next step. Part 3 is configure static trunking. Static trunking is no DDP negotiation. Configure the link between switch A and switch B. Switch A and switch B as static trunk. Static trunk is permanent trunk. No need negotiation. So here is the disable dynamic trunking. Dynamic trunking is the trunk link is established by negotiation on this port. Disable DTP, yes. On the both end of trunk link, configure trunk with a native VLAN. Eliminate native VLAN conflict if any. native VLAN is 100, VLAN 100. So let's go to switch A, configure interface G01 as trunk. Interface G01, switch port mode is trunk. All right, so this interface light turn orange, and switch port no negotiate, because static trunk no negotiate. Oh, here, this switch port. Okay, here, no negotiate. Okay, good. And the native VLAN is a switch port trunk native VLAN is 100. Okay, here. So on the other end of this trunk link, we need to do the same configuration. Static trunk. Okay, go to switch B. Go. Okay, here it shows a native VLAN mismatch because we configured G01 VLAN 100 as native VLAN. So we need to do the configuration on the G01 on switch B. So interface G01 on switch B. Switch port mode trunk. Okay, so switch port no negotiate, and the native switch port trunk native VLAN 100. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this the interface light turn green. That means the trunk link is established. Configure dynamic trunking. Assume that the trunk port on switch C is set to default DTP mode. Default DTP mode is dynamic auto. Okay, configure G02 on switch A. So it successfully negotiated trunk with is switch C. So this interface G02 on switch C is auto, dynamic auto. So this interface G02 on switch A should be configured as dynamic desirable. Okay, let's go. Where? Here. So interface G02, switch port mode, dynamic desirable. Okay, so these two switch ports start to negotiate. This is the dynamic desirable, this is dynamic auto. So they start to negotiate. And native VLAN, switch port trunk, native VLAN 100. Okay, so now this interface light turn green. That means the negotiation is successful and the trunk link is established. Okay, but here is native VLAN. We need to configure G02 on switch C, native VLAN 100, VLAN 100 as well. So here it shows the native VLAN mismatch. So we need to configure interface G02 on switch C, switch port, trunk, native VLAN 100. All right, so here completion status 100%. That means our configuration is perfect. So we finish this package to implement VLANs and trunking. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, please thumbs up and subscribe my channel and share with your friends. See you next time.